We're live.
All right, welcome back to World.
We were recording the whole time, I thought.
We should have been. This is the mistake that we always make. We always try to catch it because we start talking and we miss all kinds of great content. But let me introduce you officially. Tommy fucking Lovell. Welcome to World's Strongest Opinions, episode 58. Tommy with the Odd Objects clothing line and podcast, and most recently the Nature Walk, which we're going to talk a lot about.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a stretch to call it a podcast. There have been a couple iterations, and most recently it's only 2 episodes across maybe the last 5 months. So, you know what? I really take my time with it. I think it's better for me to put out something that I enjoy and I like rather than, the whatever metaphor about doing something repeatedly that you don't feel like doing is. I don't have a good one.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Spinning
you don't
your
want
wheels.
It to feel tedious.
It's called spinning your wheels, I think.
Yeah. I just have to do it. I have to do it. One time I was in the gym and I had some deadlifts or something, and it was say 6 sets of 3 or something. It doesn't matter. And I got to my 5th set and I said, that is enough. And this kid came up. He's like, I thought you were a world champion. Sure, I thought you were a world champion. And I was like, and I said, and this is why I'm a world champion.
Exactly.
Because I know when to stop. I know.
Exactly. I always find myself in these conversations with people at the gym. And I was just having one this morning. I think it was this morning. I don't even know what day it is most days. But yeah, exactly. Especially with people that have normal careers outside of strongman or athletics. We're always, my conversation was more in trying to cram this linear periodized program on somebody whose life is very dynamic, and knowing programmed deloads to me don't make a lot of sense on a dynamic life, because you have to know when you need that deload or know when to stop, because a lot of people don't. You put them on these periodized programs and you say, you have to do X, Y, Z, this number of reps of this weight today, this specific day.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, you're a fail. Well, nobody says that, but that's what it feels like, right? You feel like you failed.
It's funny. My sort of experience with this is that I did exactly what I was told, and that's what I really enjoyed. I don't want to have to think when I go to the gym.
Yeah.
But and there's so many aspects to it, but the better I got, the more I tried to get better. And I started thinking too much, and then the worse I got. So I tried to stop thinking as much. And now I'm back to a place where I need to keep thinking, because like you said, I need to know how to auto-regulate a little bit in the gym.
Right.
I know when it gets very confusing to me personally, knowing if I'm being a little fucking bitch or not, because, I can push through a lot of things. I'm a tough guy, but I'm also a little bitch.
Well, we all are on some days, man. If you haven't slept, you haven't eaten, you ever trained, everybody feels like a little bitch, but nobody can tell you better how you feel than you, right? Your coach can say, well, take a deload, but you're like, but bro, I feel amazing today. Why are you telling me this?
Yeah.
I can put in quality work today. Why should I deload? Yeah.
All right. No deloads. So that's
no deloads. Fuck deloads.
Odd objects, no deloads.
There you go.
I like it.
I'm stealing it.
Well, and that's it. Everybody asks me, because I keep talking about I want to sell my house. I'll be debt free if I do that, and just go and put a rooftop tent on my pickup and just go live in the wilderness. And they're like, how are you going to lift? I'm like, fucking odd objects. There's rocks and logs everywhere.
Exactly. The number of guys I've talked to about, they're like, what if I just, I don't know, gave it all up and just lived in the woods? And you're like, oh, that sounds really nice.
It sounds really nice.
Really nice.
This is the segue for you to take over.
Yeah.
Talk to us about Nature Walk.
It's, well, I've just got this little anecdote that I'm trying to work into thing, but it doesn't need to work especially. But we were out shooting, and I was editing the stuff, or no, but before we shot, I was walking around trying to find the right log, and I found this one log, and I was like, oh yeah, this is the one. This is heavy. It's fucking crazy. And then Shay was with me, and then we shot the thing, and no one could lift it. And one of the guys was like, "Oh, I'm gonna press it," and he was like, "Oh, if I press this twice, I win the event." And I said, "If you press that once, you win the whole show, as far as I'm concerned. If you can press it, you win." And it was like, oh, and like everybody was all hyped up. No one pressed it. I still want to go out one day and try to press it myself. I just haven't gotten around to it. But Shay, as I was editing, she was watching it, and she was like, "Do you think that you're going to show this to people and everyone's just going to say, 'Oh, I could have pressed that'?" And like 5 people I've shown it to have been like, "Oh, I think I could have pressed that." And it's just so funny because I don't know how much it weighs. No one knows how much it weighs. Like the log density is who knows what. It's been out there for like months or weeks or years even. Who knows? It could be light. It's heavy. It's like off balance. It's weird. It's bent. But that's like kind of the beauty of it, is that like just, if I see a 500-pound deadlift on a Texas deadlift bar, on a barbell, like, whether or not you can lift it.
Right.
I get 16 or 17 reps in 2 minutes or whatever, like a minute, like who knows what I could get. Maybe I think I could have gotten more, but if you can lift it or not. This stuff, I don't know. It's just like that urge to like, I just want to pick something up and move with it. Unfortunately, fortunately or not, I didn't do any of the events myself. I did enjoy. I just kind of picked them up and said, "Yeah, that seems about heavy enough."
So let's back up just really quick for listeners that haven't watched Nature Walk yet. What is Nature Walk? So
they're like, there's like a big picture and a small picture. The small picture is, it's just another. I want to say just another, because there are people always like trying to create new competition series, and I feel like a lot of people. Well, now I'm going big picture. Small picture, it's some people in the woods that are just doing strongman with no supportive gear and just using natural elements. So this first Nature Walk, I guess I'm going to call it an episode. We did it in Appalachia. So we had a natural stone carry for time. So the guys themselves all sort of said, like, this seems about far enough. We'll turn around here and run back. They did the same stone they pressed overhead for reps. Then they did a log to shoulder. And like I was saying, one of the guys thought he could press it. Nobody could press it. And then they all went out into a creek and they each found their own rock. And then it was a front hold for time. So the idea, a little bit bigger picture, is I wanted to create a competition series in nature using natural elements and an aesthetic. So this aesthetic is like, late fall in the mountains, wood and rocks, right? So I'm working on one right now with Josh Kovalevsky for Minnesota. And I've got a lot of stuff going on, but if I can get it scheduled well, that'll be, very cool colors, ice and snow. Right. So we've got, and the idea sort of came around because, people will watch, say, like the OSG live stream over and over and over, right? I used to play it at my gym on this big screen. I know people that played at their gyms, like they just put it up on the screen. It's like kind of inspirational. Like people that aspire to go to OSG, will tell me, like, they're like, "Oh, I watch your OSG stuff, or I watch the 80s from 2019 or 2021 all the time." And in 2021, it got a lot better. Official Strongman sent some more creative guys over, Joe Schofield being one of them. And they had a little bit more of a camera crew with the roaming cams, athlete interviews. They kind of made it look a little cooler. But there's still a lot of downtime. There are a lot of athletes. There's a lot of stuff to get through. Even if you're only watching one class, that's, 40 athletes across 6 events. That's watching 240 events. Yeah. Well, they go 4 at a time. So it's just a lot.
But it's only 240 minutes. So point that out.
Oh, yeah. They don't all go. Yeah. They don't all go at
Strongman, where you train 3 months to compete for 20 minutes, for 5 minutes, 6 minutes.
Isn't that great? At the most, because if you do an event quickly, you don't take up the whole time, right? I mean, it's so wild. So the idea is, what if we made something beautiful or something that was nice to watch for the eyes, that is only meant to be watched. It's so there are no spectators, no judges, nothing like that. It's just people doing strongman stuff in the woods. And this first one, or whatever the landscape may be. So this first one, honestly, I just really threw together very quickly. Shot, did audio all myself, edited myself, chose the events, ran the events, just did all of this stuff. So I just wanted to put it together as quickly as possible. If I'm being honest, because I was just so terrified somebody else was going to do the idea before me. But I'm planning a much bigger one for 2025, and that'll be more like 6 guys, like world level guys, all in a house together for 6 days, like just only filming. So it would be more like I guess the idea would be like shooting a movie or shooting a show, so something like that. But that, in the biggest nutshell you've ever heard, is Odd Objects.
So, but I mean, it's a competition. So the nature walk is a competition.
Yes,
of sorts. I mean,
it's going to change. I only had time for these to put together 4 events here. I'd like to have more events. I would like it to change every time. I'd want to sort of experiment with different events and different styles of events. Sure. I didn't do it for this reason, but looking back on it, it is sort of, I guess, maybe implicitly, like, because of this reason. I'm in a group chat with a bunch of people, obviously, as we all are. And one of the guys, we were talking about someone who posted something, and we're all so, braggadocious and all this stuff. But somebody posted something, I don't know. And this guy said, why is it that everyone who does it now wants to be the greatest who's ever done it? And I'm guilty of that myself. I'm like, I want to be the greatest lightweight that ever lived. And it's so funny, like how that has started to happen. Like recently, or in the last few years, I think the better things look and the more professional the stuff looks, you feel like a professional. And you're like, oh, I want to be the greatest.
Right.
And so this maybe is just a little bit sort of taking the dial down and saying, like, let's just go have some fun. There's nothing on the line here. Right. You shouldn't, I don't think you should be peaking for this thing. Let's just make it cool. Let's have fun. Let's pick up stuff. Right. None of us can like train for this. It's a log we all just found, it's that sort of stuff. So right. I hope in the future it just becomes like this really sort of beautiful, fun thing. Sure. That people would aspire to, but it would be just for the love.
Yeah. Well, plus getting out into nature, getting away from the rat race of society and getting off the internet and putting your phone down, right, has its own value, right? I mean, to me, it's a lot of value, right? To reset, reconnect, go out and hang out with a group of boys, or the girls hang out, whatever, everybody together. I mean, there's nothing better than that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I told the guys before we went out, like I did a little rules meeting, like just a real chill one, like, and we all sort of decided rules together. And I was trying to figure out a way to not have to jump in and do rules. Like, what are the ways that we can like just what the rules are and we can just do the thing. And I was saying, it might sound crazy, but one day we're all going to die, right? We all know that, but really remember that. So right now, today, when we go out there and do this, remember that what we shoot on the camera today and what we put out, that's going to live forever. So like, just really enjoy it. And then I said, don't post anything online for me, but you can take all the videos you want and then save them. And afterwards, they were all like asking me like, oh, hey, can you send me something? I totally forgot to take my camera out. So like nobody took their phone out like the whole time or like shot a video. We're just like, just hanging out, walking through the woods, setting up, being like, oh, here's a thing. Like it really was a lot of fun.
That sounds amazing. I've been like daydreaming about doing, I want to start going and doing some more hiking and camping. I used to do a lot when I was younger. Start doing like backcountry hiking and camping, and the thought of doing guided backcountry hiking, camping trips. So it's like really appealing to me. And then adding in stone lifting would be like just like the pinnacle of that sort of experience.
Dude, that would be a really cool thing if there were like a guided hike and camp several day thing where you came across like cool little feats of strength that you could do. Dude, that's a really cool idea.
and I mean, and you got guys like Ryan Stewart in Utah from Black Flag, right? That he's staked out all like these manhood stones around Utah.
Yeah, he sent me that, or someone did.
Yeah, I mean, doing stuff like that would be amazing and make it, and I think kind of getting into, like men's mental health too, having a little bit of brotherhood and getting the boys out together, right? Challenging each other, spending quality time, like disconnecting again, resetting, going out, like pushing each other, and just shooting the breeze, man, would be phenomenal in and of itself.
I mean, it does. I mean, it sounds really fun, which is why. Well, that's why I want to do it for other people.
Yeah,
I'm making it work for myself, but
right. So the next one you said though is probably Minnesota.
If things can align, I'm actually so Shay and I recently moved down to Asheville, North Carolina from Brooklyn, New York, just a few months ago. We're going back up for a wedding this weekend, and I'm going to stay. I own 2 gyms in Brooklyn, and we're moving. Oh, I forgot when you do this. And this one does hearts.
Oh, awesome.
Well, if anyone's listening and can't see, we're on a Google Meet thing. And if you do a peace sign, it gives you balloons. And if you do a heart sign, it shows hearts. So we're moving one of the gyms into a much bigger gym. So I'm just going to be there for a few months building it out. Wait, why am I talking about New York? What's the question?
Well, it was actually Minnesota, but yeah,
right.
You moved, you got a wedding.
That's right.
You're leading up to when.
So yeah, the point is I'm going to be very busy the next few months. And apparently, well, I'm sure Minnesota has snow now, but a couple weeks ago when Josh and I were talking, there had been no snow. And the whole reason I'd want to shoot there is so we could do some snow stuff. We're looking into a sleigh, like a giant sleigh to push and pull on the ice. I have this idea of you have to, all the other competitors get into the sleigh and that's the weight.
Nice.
So that every weight is different, but it's all relative to the weight of the group. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that'd be kind of cool. And just some other stuff on theme for, I don't know, snow and ice. And Minnesota, and I mean, people have reached out. One guy knows all these stone lifts in Hawaii, and he wants me to shoot. He's like, "How could we get it done?" I said, I don't know if you fly me out. I mean, I can't afford it right now.
Right.
But it's definitely a lot of feedback from a lot of people that want to do it in a lot of places. And the only thing really holding me back is time, and not necessarily money, but I do. It's not something that makes obviously me any money. So it does need to be done as cheaply as possible, if I'm being honest.
Sure.
And also
the nice thing about like stones and logs and stuff in nature is it doesn't cost anything for the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it's really just depending on where we shoot, if we need permits, which I try to do everything without permits. But it just comes down to travel. I shoot it and I edit it all myself. So it's not that big of a deal. But this year is, I'm not going to say it's my last year of Strongman, but I took the year off to really sort of rebuild my body. And this year I'd like to come back and really, swing as hard as I can and see what I'm still made of or what I'm really made of and how that's going to go. I'm 41 now. I'll be 42 in April.
Still young.
Yeah. Well, I mean, absolutely, but man, some of the other guys that I see that are just like, I don't know, 22 and they're just doing stuff that I'm like, I didn't even know people could deadlift that much when I was your age. Like, what?
Right.
Fuck.
Like John shared this video of this high school kid just doing the ugliest clean You look at it and you're like, how did his knees not just fold in half? Because he did the wide jump stance or whatever. I'm like, man, must be nice to be that young and indestructible.
I was just talking to some guy. We just came back from a climbing gym. Shay met up with a friend to climb, and we did some yoga, which I think I'm gonna start doing yoga once a week. That was nice. But he was talking about that sort of thing, like just do it. He was like, oh, we were young, we just do all this crazy stuff. I didn't start lifting till I was 33. I'm really jealous. I missed out on all of the that crazy, horrible form, just psychopathic high school weight room shit.
Right.
Yeah, I was too busy skateboarding, but like I watch these videos now, I'm like, oh, I just want all my friends to crowd around me and scream as I barely lift something.
Right, and do it with like the worst form imaginable.
Just horrendous.
But you did it, God damn it!
You did it. I mean, that's all we care about.
That's all we care. I mean, Strongman. Like,
so true.
As long as you do it, doesn't matter what your form looks like. I mean, if you want any longevity in the sport, you should probably learn like some basic manner of like biomechanics. But yeah, no, man, I'm 45, and I thought that maybe I was done with Strongman. I got into Highland Games and I jumped back in way too late with no time to prep into OSG. That hurt. I'm actually pretty excited for that competition, but I'm also sort of excited to be like done with it, so I go back to Highland Games where it doesn't hurt as much.
How is that Highland Games? Does it happen all the time, all over the place, or is it just once a year?
No, it happens. I mean, there's games all around the country, I think, all year round. Matter of fact, they just had one in Florida last weekend. But like here in Colorado, it's really like March to like Labor Day is about all. And then they stop putting on competitions, at least on this side, like the Denver side of the mountains. I don't know if they put one on the other side, but yeah. And then if you want to travel, you can go to like Arizona, New Mexico, and Florida, and whatever. But yeah, but typically I think the season, it's very seasonal here. There's definitely an off season if you live in Colorado and compete primarily in Colorado.
I see. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I have to look that up. I don't know why I've never considered that. That would be, that could be something that'd be fun to just get into. How do you look at it? Do you enjoy just doing it and it's just for fun? Or do you find yourself thinking, I need to be the best at it, I need to win?
So I've only done it for 1 year. I just walked into a show last March, never done any of the events, ate total shit. I mean, I won the weight over bar. And then I guess I just decided that I was going to have fun and just learn, and it didn't matter what I placed. But by the end of the season, my last game, I podiumed, and now going into this year, I'm like, I want to dominate. I want to win. I want to go pro in my 40s. That's where I'm at.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, I was talking about that with Shay at the climbing gym, and I was saying like, because she was saying she wants to get better. She's like, I don't even know if I like climbing, and she was saying how good she wants to get. She's like, I want to get good enough to where I'm like around this area, and I was just saying, the only way I know if I like something is if I'm good at it. Like that's my idea of joy, is being good at something. Like, and it's happened my whole life. And I can't tell if it's like a sad thing or not. Like maybe like that might be kind of sad. You know what I mean? Like I don't enjoy anything. I just want to fucking be the best at it. Yeah. But it would be cool. Like Highland Games seems like, I think I'd be like you, where I'd go and I'm like, oh, I just want to go have fun. And I'd be like, oh, that was kind of fun. I'd do it again. I go, oh, I did better that time. And then I'm like, oh, I need people to like understand how good I can be at something.
Right. Well, like I'm good at like caber, weight over bar, and sheaf, and I'm actually caber is just supernatural for me. So I finished strong. I won one caber, almost flipped a pro caber, a 21-foot pro caber at the end of the season, and I'm like, I'm getting back to old strength levels. I have this drive now. I'm like, I'm gonna go at least dominate those 3 events.
Dude, I love it.
Because I know I can do really well. The problem with Highland Games, though, especially with caber, you're really only allowed to throw 2 cabers. So if you crush the second caber, they won't get a harder caber out for you to like keep going. And so you're kind of like you're stuck in this plateau unless you go up to like the pros or something.
Oh, you only get 2 tosses.
I mean, you get 3 attempts at each caber, right? So if you turn the first one, you get 3 more attempts at the other one. But if you turn the other one, they technically don't allow you. The only reason so I turned the first 2 cabers at my last show, and then the Super A's, I was in the A's, and then there's like the Super A's, which is this weird transitionary group between A's and pros. They opted for my second caber and then the big 21 footer. And I flipped the second one. I'm like, and I begged and pleaded. I'm like, you got to let me try it. And they're like, no, we're like, you got groups waiting and all this. I was like, just one try, come on. And they let me try it. But then they were like, one try. And they're like, nope, you're done.
Damn.
They wouldn't let me go again.
That seems like a difficult thing to
because it's not like Strongman, right? Like in Strongman, like you get to like continue. I mean, if you have one weight, you get to hit it as many reps as you can, right? If it's a max event, you go, especially if it's last man standing, you just go until you can't anymore. But there, you're kind of really limited.
And the idea with caber is you want it to flip straight, right?
Yeah. So
as straight as possible.
So the end in your hand has to land away from you, and a perfect score is at 12 o'clock away from you. And then you lose points every minute it goes either way.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's a 0. You don't get anything if it doesn't turn like land more than 90 degrees away from you.
Gotcha.
But it's actually like it's just like throwing a bag. It's like a big triple extension. There's nothing to it, honestly. The hardest part is balancing. It's the pick and the balance. The pick was actually the hardest thing for me to figure out. Once I got that down,
once you get it, you almost like lean it a little bit away from you, so you have to chase it or something.
So once you get the balance, you want it straight up and down, and you just kind of nudge it just a little bit so that you got to run. And I found the faster that I run, the better chance I have of flipping the caber. And you stop, you dip, and you just a big triple extension and flip it. And so that momentum forward carries it through.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like it'd be a lot of fun.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun, and it doesn't hurt as bad as Strongman. I mean, all the old Highland gamers will tell you they're beat up and everything, and then I'm just like very cliche off to the side, like giggling because I'm like, you don't know what being beat up is. I'm like, this is easy. This is nice. This feels
it's also
good.
Much more cost effective. It's like $50. They supply drinks and food. And it's like
that's nice.
Every meet these days is at least $100. It feels like so. It's nice to have the Highland games where it's all very cost effective.
Well, they buy all the equipment, right? You only need 2 weights for the weight for distance. You only need 2 hammers for the hammer throw. You can go pick up 2 stones for the shot, the stone put, the natural stones, right? You get a couple of height standards for the weight over bar and the sheath. And you go and have some logs cut into cabers, and like you use the same stuff at every single competition. It's the same 9 events. So it is really cost effective.
That makes sense.
There's something nice about having the same things over and over. There's also something nice about not having.
Yeah, right. There is. You're right. I mean, from an athlete's perspective, yeah, doing competition. Well, I don't know. I think there's like good and bad to that too. I think it's a lot of fun to go and have a variety of events, right? Where you really can't. It's very hard to specialize or peak for, in some shows I've had as many as 11 events in one show.
That's insane.
Really hard. You just have to be strong, right? You have to be really well-rounded. That's a lot of fun. But if you keep doing competitions like that, and you want to be like the best you can, you're spending so much money on equipment, like new pieces of equipment every show. I have $30,000 of equipment in my basement that I'm probably never going to, some of it I'll use, but some of it's like, I bought this for one show.
I was actually talking to Laws about that recently, and I was saying, if you take 2 people who are identical somehow, like in a computer simulator or something, 2 identical people with DNA, and Their lives are exactly the same. Every single thing they do is exactly the same. But then 8 weeks out from a show, you give one of them the actual implement, and another one just has to train on whatever they have. It's funny when you think about it like that, because one of the questions, like the question I'm trying to answer on my next episode of the next episode of the Odd Objects podcast, which still has so much work to go because it's such a stupid question. But like, I want to know, like, I keep thinking about like, what is greatness? What does it mean to be great? Because everyone has a different answer to that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And if we look at it like the example I just gave, well, to be great in that case, it just means that you had access to the stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's not really what we're trying to measure. We're trying to measure who's the best. But, a lot of times like if you have the access to the thing, or if you can get the thing, you will do better at it.
You definitely get an advantage.
Yeah.
It's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
And I've been a stickler about that for a long time. I really hate when promoters allow like really special competition equipment to be used by a handful of people, and not everybody can use it. It drives me batshit crazy
for that. I was given the opportunity once, and I turned it down. I was like, I don't know. It feels. I mean, I know you want to like. I also look. I'm going to go here. Hopefully, you guys use this as a little sound bite. But I think if you're not cheating, you're not trying. It's fucking bullshit. I think that's bullshit. I think cheating is cheating. So fucking stop cheating.
But I mean, also Strongman is allowed. Like, I mean, we don't call it cheating per se because it's allowed, but like Strongman has allowed the most obscene shit to pass. Right?
It's
I mean,
crazy.
like famously Novikov's fingertip deadlift. It wasn't too long ago that it was still allowed to press off your head. Right? I mean, we still continental clean, and now it's with like double belts, belt clean, grip shirts, right? Double elbow sleeves, fucking. I mean, like, it's obscene the amount of shit that we can get away with Strongman. And then there's like, I love sumo because this is like the most absurd thing in the world. Like, you can cheat, you can do all kinds of stupid shit, but God forbid you try to sumo deadlift and like
better put your hands outside of those knees, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard, like in the first World's Strongest Man competitions, no one had ever pressed a log before, so they didn't know how to roll it up. They would stand it up and sort of almost Steinborn it over, and then press it. Yep. So like, I don't know, where are those events? Like, we need to come up with a new fucking implement or something. Like, I don't know what can there be that like everyone has to look at and go, what the hell is this, and what do I do? If either one of you, if you ever done like a totally blind show, I know there's always mystery events, but
just mystery events.
The idea of like having no idea what's going to happen.
I mean, a lot of people have been saying that because that's the way Strongman was in its early years.
Yeah,
nobody knew what the events were. They just showed up and they had to be strong. They had to be strong. They had to adapt.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to do a show like that. Have no idea, but I mean, when it comes to like new implements, I'm a little wary of that these days because people are going all out. I mean, rogue, and I've seen some in Australia, and like the implements that they're making today aren't really implements. They're just like gigantic mousetrap contraptions, right? where the athlete's like this tiny on this gigantic platform, right? Like,
yeah. Rogue made that like one triangle thing that you would flip. I think you know what I'm talking about. I feel like it's like almost looked like a little jungle gym, but it was essentially a triangle. So if you flipped it to its side, it became its base. And then you flip it again, and every time it landed, it would be a triangle standing up. I don't know if it went very far or did very much, but
that sounds actually kind of interesting. Versus their deadlift platform that you couldn't even fit the whole thing in the frame of the camera.
That was the best in the live stream. We can't see the weights; you just see people at the bar just lifting a heavy handle.
Yeah. I was obsessed with trying to come up with a new implement for a while, and I would like take some mushrooms and try to think of some new shit. And I wanted to create. I made a prototype and it failed miserably, or it didn't do what I thought it would do. So I wanted to make the step from a stiff bar barbell to a deadlift bar, a little bit more whip. It's made for deadlifting. So I took apart a throwing bag, a sandbag, and I replaced the nylon straps with exercise bands, like rubber bands.
Sure.
So that when you throw it for the bag to stretch out and then snap back. I was hoping that it would let you launch it like crazy high, but the heavier it got, it just like you couldn't launch it as far.
Right.
I think
there's a lot of energy.
Yeah, there could be some use for it. Like maybe you could practice really hard. It's almost like it ended up being a dampener rather than like a slingshot. So that was my one attempt so far, and it failed. But I'm going to keep trying because I really want to have something fucking named after me.
There you go. The Tommy fucking Lovell.
Some stupid event. Yeah. I'd made up this thing. I called it the Tommy squat. It's like a Stein board, except you just put it over one shoulder and squat it. And then somebody sent me a video. They're like, no, this dude made this like 80 years ago. I was like,
80 years ago.
That's how it goes, though, because last year in February, we did the bazooka log challenge where you just got the log and you just tried to shoulder it like max weight. And it was just like this impromptu thing because I absolutely hate pressing. And my friends, they were like, you need to press this. And I was like, no, I don't want to press it. And I was like, okay, fine. So I look like I'm getting ready to go. And I just like scooped it and just flipped it to my shoulder. And I was like, this is a fun event. And it was funny because like people went back and forth because people, they're like, I've never seen that before. Then other people are like, it's been done with a barbell. I was like, with the log. It was funny too because the weights kept going up because I was like, just told people, I was like, I'll give you guys like gift card, grip shirts, like whoever wins in the men's weight ended up being like 315 pounds or something. The shoulder, the log like spins really bad, but it was fun to just like have that impromptu kind of feel of like, because you've seen so many things and it's like,
I love it.
It's easier to just like,
you need to go watch Deadliest Lift. Mark Rosenberg. If you want to see like, he makes up shit like every day. That's just,
his stuff is crazy. And I skateboarded very seriously for a long time. So that one dude who's always doing like 300-pound ollies and kickflips and shit. People
Mikey Maybe Me.
Mikey Maybe Me. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Stop sending me this dude.
I know, because you've done some pretty decent ones. You have that tiptoe, the SSB tiptoe squat. Like, people are maxing out on that.
Ended up, I didn't go max on it.
Or some people tried to go pretty heavy.
Some people got like a few 100 pounds on it. Yeah, that ended up being a lot easier than I thought it would be.
And like a sissy squat or something, or
no, just like put on an SSB and do normal squat, but just stay on your toes the whole time.
Yeah, that's just like tiptoes.
Okay,
so feet are just up.
Okay. Yeah, it just ended up being fine. But some random dude was watching me in the gym, and I was like, "Oh, I'm just being silly for the internet." And he was like, "Well, I think there's actually some carryover." So I was like, "I don't know, dude." Just fucking around.
Okay, you fucking nerd.
Yeah,
that's the nice thing about like nature walk and stuff. Like, because I think so many things have become so standardized. Of like everything has to be optimal. Of like you have people literally now with like, if there's a car deadlift or a Viking thing, they're like, how many pounds is it in hand at the top? Or like this. And you're like, it's always going to be different. Yeah. They'll be like, I need
where's the weight measurement?
Yeah. What's the fulcrum distance? Like, what's this whole, like when they had the lever deadlifts at the USS Nationals, like so many people are trying to like do the math of like how to train that event exactly like that. And it's like,
so funny. I mean, I don't do programming. I'm not a coach. So I don't, I notionally understand how it works, but it just seems like you don't need to know. You just need to get as strong as you can get.
Exactly.
And you can only get so much stronger than you already are with a peak. So like, that's it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. Like,
yeah.
I also fucking hate to train. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but like, I don't enjoy it. I don't like going to the gym. It makes me feel depressed, which is kind of crazy. I'm just like, I want to get the fuck out of here. And I was thinking about it. Like, I used to have so much fun in the gym because I just go and goof around and like just be fucking silly and stuff. And I don't do that anymore. I've got to figure out a way to get back to it. because I'm killing myself in there.
That was I actually went through probably like my late 30s and early 40s. I started going through phases like that too, where I just stopped enjoying training. I stopped enjoying competing. Like I started going through like these phases where it was miserable. But then I would like pop out of it, but then I find myself back into it. So I feel you. And I think a lot of it is like, I mean, I probably took things too seriously at one point in time. You guys are just like, you go and have fun. And I don't know. I think what really helped me is my goals and stuff changed. I wasn't so focused on just being strong. I started adding in like body composition and trying to be healthier and more conditioned and whatever. That made it fun. Especially started doing like more CrossFit conditioning stuff. Like, it was a whole new challenge, and it didn't make me feel like shit at the end. Well, I mean, immediately it did, but like,
well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but like the next day, I wasn't like dying from like the muscle soreness, right, where everything hurt.
But yeah, like it's for me, it's sort of like what we're talking about with like things are standardized, and it's like, well, if things are standardized, we know the events, we know how they run, well, we know how to get there, and you keep taking steps back toward yourself, and you're like, well, there's nothing for me to. I mean, I can get better, and I can always learn or whatever, but there's nothing. I thrive on novelty, like having something new or like a different challenge. And like at this point, it's like these incremental gains that I'm sort of doing toward almost the same thing, essentially. Right. So I could totally see how that would be that would be fun. We're allowed to talk about drugs, right?
Yeah, do you want to?
We are podcast.
I mean, I don't think anybody thinks that strongmen are daddies.
Yeah, not that I want to talk about anything crazy, but I recently just started taking IGF Des 1, so it's like it'll help break your muscle down and like
it's like peptides.
Yeah, it's just a peptide. Yeah. But it's very short acting. It starts working in about 15 minutes, stops working in about 45 minutes, something like that. But I'm doing these like this. I did this crazy leg workout the other day after I did some front squats, some split jerks, and then I hit like crazy hack squat. Then like I can't remember some other shit, some leg curls and stuff. But between the two, I went and like pinned myself with these peptides all over my quads, and I haven't been able to walk for 2 days. And it is just my favorite fucking thing. Like the idea that I might have big quads one day, I'm just like, I'm so excited about it. I'm like, dude, I want to do the hack squat again. I can't like move.
I don't know anything. I don't think that stuff works localized though. It's all systematic. You can put it in
the IGF. Yeah, it works.
You just put it in your belly fat.
Really?
Oh yeah. No, drugs don't really work localized unless it's like a cortisone shot or something right into the joint or something like that. But peptides are very, very systematic the way they work.
Well, yeah, generally I know that's true, but I've heard definitely about this one. Well, now I'm gonna have to research it. But I mean,
there's always those people out there that like I've heard people even like BPC, 157. They're like, inject it right wherever the pain is, and I'm like,
well, you don't have to. Said about BPC, and then TB goes everywhere, and
I put BPC in my belly fat, and it works the same. Does the same thing.
Well, shit, man. I really like a little machine, and I was like putting it in each spot, and I was like, this one's gonna get better, and this one's gonna get bigger.
I mean, I don't think
this one is actually localized.
I don't think
it's muscle injection. It's not subcutaneous. It's straight muscle injection.
I don't think it can hurt.
Yeah. So this one is localized. It claims that because you do it muscle, not skin injection.
Yeah,
so it should be working. But so I mean, maybe you'll have.
But I mean, you can't, dude. I mean, if you inject testosterone in your quads aren't going to automatically grow bigger.
True.
I did.
But that's not versus subcutaneous is.
But that's not a growth hormone. I'm just saying that the science, there's a whole bunch of studies here that say localized does work for this specific peptide. Not all peptides. This specific.
I'll have to look. That's interesting.
So I'm like, but I don't know. There's always like what sucks is there's no good studies.
Some anecdotal research. I put more on my right side, and my right side's more sore.
I mean, you put 3 cc's of testosterone in your right side and 1 in your left. It's going to be more sore too.
Way more sore. But yeah, I never wanted to do bodybuilding just because, especially the diet is just not. I don't like to eat food. I'm not someone who like enjoys eating food. I'm not very good at it. So like really being super regimented with diet would be so hard. But I don't know. I think I could. I think I could get into some crazy soul crushingly painful leg workouts in my future.
Yeah.
Kind of Tom Platt style. Just
I mean, maybe.
I've always thought of that too. Like, I don't know if just because I have like I'm so tall, but I always want to build my legs up. And I've done squatting 3 days a week, right? Doing Russian squat back to back, which is just disgustingly brutal, or like Shenko or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. My legs don't change. So maybe I need some IGF Des 1.
Yeah, maybe. I don't
localize.
With big quads, we have to say that it works because it does. My legs just don't get big. I mean, they get strong. They just don't get big.
Same.
Fuck.
Same, man. My legs are strong as fuck. They just don't grow.
Yeah. I got to look like I have nice for the first time in my life. What'd you say, John?
I just look like I have nice quads because the jorts. That's the key. Jorts. It's just like shorter shorts that are nice and tight.
I started wearing shorter shorts and it didn't really help.
Huh.
You look even taller.
I just look taller, exactly. I just look like I have longer legs.
My quads are defined no matter what I do, so it doesn't matter. Like, it's the one attribute I can do. But you were saying your chest is finally big?
Oh, I got a chest for the first time in my entire life.
Benching or
not much
other stuff?
A lot of benching, cable flies, just a bunch of stuff. It turned out I had limited overhead mobility because of a weak pec minor. And a weak lower trap, like my trap 3. So the lower trap wasn't doing scapular retraction because it was basically non-existent. And then my pec minor was really weak, so my body wasn't really allowing it to get, because the further away, further back you put your arm, your chest is in a weaker and weaker position.
Sure.
So it just was holding it back. So ironically, the stronger my chest got, the easier it is to put my hands behind my head.
Yeah. The same thing happened for me with my lats, man. I was really struggling getting my arms under a front squat, my hands under a front squat and elbow time. Strengthen the traps and everything opened up.
Yeah. I can find
weird how the body works that way.
Oh yeah. I just think it seems like magic, but I'm sure if you totally understand, you're like, no, yeah, it makes total sense and it's fine. You're like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense at all to me. Because like when my coach told me, he's like, we're gonna start like working traps more, like doing all these like trap specific exercise. I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna get tighter. My traps are gonna be sore all the time, and I'm not gonna be able to. I'm definitely not gonna be able to get any better. And yeah, the total opposite happened. I'm like, I'm with you. It doesn't make any sense. The body works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, apparently the IGF-1 does. It's because it's localized because it's a short half-life, just like it's a whole thing.
All right,
science is weird.
So
distracted of.
So they're saying like if you put it like too far away from the localized area that you want to grow, that that's half-life so short that it wouldn't make it, or what? I mean,
yeah, I guess they're saying like it's more like in that area.
I don't inject it every 30 seconds or something.
They're saying do it in that area because it's like 20 minutes seems like enough time to go around. The science is weird.
Yeah, I was told it'll take about 15 minutes to start working, then it stops working after 30 minutes or some shit like that,
which is crazy short because so many things are. Yeah. It's hard because the main thing is there's no good like studies for half these things because they're like, oh, it's not FDA approved, so it's all just anecdotal.
We're all doing our own research.
That's true. I guess there's like old science before they like throw it out and everything.
That's what lab rats are for.
But no, I was just looking at that briefly. But back to the topic at hand, because it is weird. Because I've been doing BPC 157 for my knee, and it's like I can't tell the difference between localized or not. And it's like
I've never been able to tell. I've done. Everyone's like, oh, you got to get the BPC and TB, and I do them, and I cannot tell if anything. I guess I've never had a like a hamstring tear or something.
So I tore my hamstring 6 weeks after OSG. It was weird though. It wasn't like there wasn't like an event like where it tore and I was like, oh, I knew it tore.
Yeah.
It after I was done training, I was getting dressed and my quad just like spasmed a little bit, but within an hour it went into this rock hard like nuclear spasm for like 12 hours.
Fuck.
And I don't know if the spasm was what maybe tore it, but I mean it bled out inside. So the bruising, like it went all the way down to my heel, right, my ankle. So it had all the symptoms of a tear. Don't know what happened. No idea. 6 weeks out from OSG. I obviously laid off of any. I couldn't bend my leg for a week or so. Started taking BP 157. By OSG, it was completely healed.
That's crazy.
So was it the BPC?
I mean,
I don't.
No point in finding out by not using it. Honestly,
Right.
Yeah, they always say though it's a mixing thing because they're like apparently it's so fragile it can just be destroyed by like.
Well, yeah, I mean, with any peptides, you don't want to put like your backwater and shake the shit out of it, right?
just roll it.
You don't want to put it in the freezer or in the oven.
It's true,
right?
But it's also hard because there's no like you need to know the right sources and stuff because like it's not for human consumption. So,
well, I mean it's for lab rat research.
It's true. That's true. It's one of those things.
It's crazy. There's actually there's a SARMs and peptides brick and mortar not too far from my house.
Wait, brick and mortar?
Brick and mortar. Legitimate.
You just walk in there?
Yeah, you just walk in. It's called Survival Supplements. The dude advertises all over social media. I mean, he's got a big sign right to like it's a busy road. Says SARMs and peptides, and I'm kind of mystified because I mean everybody knows like you can put like not for human consumption on it for research purposes only, like as much as you want, but everybody knows like law enforcement's buying it just as much as the rest of us, right? They know what the fuck it's for.
Yeah, I mean as long as it's not technically illegal, there's nothing like here in North Carolina, weed is not legal, but THCA is. So it's an acidic form of THC that converts to THC when put under heat.
Huh.
So if you smoke it, it turns into THC.
What if you make brownies out of it? I mean, it sounds like it's made for cooking.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. But no, if you hit it with a lighter and light it and smoke it, it converts the THC acidic form into THC.
But that's illegal.
But it's not. It's not. No, I mean, yeah, there are shops all over that sell it. THCA. I don't know. It's just
because it's
so
fun.
Wait, hold on. Sorry. So THC is illegal, but the acidic version is not.
Right.
Yeah. Gotcha. Interesting.
Because there's
all you have to do is heat it up and it turns.
Well, it's probably like people are always looking for loopholes and the gray areas in laws, right? And if the law the law probably says THC is illegal. And that's probably not technically THC, and so there's some gray area.
You know what that is,
right?
Dude? That's Strongman. They're like, bro, it wasn't in the rules.
Exactly.
So, because like Williamson County, where we are, is like right outside Travis County, and Delta 9's legal in Travis County because I guess Delta 9's from marijuana. Delta 8's like different enough, but Williamson County, because we go with federal guidelines, you can't have Delta 9. But there are shops that sell Delta 8, Delta 10, and Delta 11, which is just like nightmare kind of like levels of paranoia. And it's this weird loophole where you're like, you can just like at a gas station get Delta 11 weird, like super, there'll be like hybrid resin mix, like 1,000 milligrams. And you're like, wait, so this is legal, but you can't do this one. You can just drive 2 blocks over. And this is technically illegal.
Well, I mean, that's why peptides are like, peptides and research chemicals, right? That's why they're legal, is because it's gray area in the law. Yeah, that's all it is.
It's true.
And but apparently, I read something recently that I guess the FDA is actually going to do something that potentially might outlaw BPC.
Huh.
So that may be coming, and then these places may not sell it. I don't know. Might become hard to find.
They're about to sell a lot right now. Then.
Yeah, right.
True. I was just about to say, I was like, that's really what we need is a sponsor like that, where we have a discount code. Be like, get everything you need right now. Do a call to action, and YouTube will copyright strike us or do one of their strikes. So like, this goes against community guidelines. I'm like, it's not for human consumption. We're just saying purchase it. Just
right.
You don't have to use it.
Purchase it.
But that gray area, it's just such an arbitrary, like, weird thing at like a federal level. I don't know.
Right.
The law sucks.
But I mean, it also turns into like bad shit too, because like all of your designer, like illicit designer drugs are because of that too, right? Because people are always trying to skirt around the law. And so that's when bath salts and, like weird fucking naked people chewing on somebody's arm, like, right, in public manifest themselves.
Dude, so there's a new one that's taking over because like Kensington Avenue, there's like all these live streams you can watch where it's someplace in Pennsylvania, just like awful. Like you can just like watch people live stream of like just like people ODing in the streets and like doing stuff. And they have this new drug, Trank, where it's just like a horse tranquilizer that literally will like immediately start like affecting the injection site by like deteriorating it, so you get like open sores like within a day. And they have like, if you look up Kensington Avenue, I think Brandon Buckingham has a video where he goes and shows it. He like, they'll show people in the streets and you have people, they'll literally inject and keep pumping it back and forth, like, and you're just like it. And it's weird because you watch this guy and within 10 minutes he turns into a zombie. Like these people literally be in the middle of walking and just pause and just like start slumping over. And you're like,
look,
it's surreal to watch. Yeah. You just looked it up. Like you have to.
I did. I searched it and I've got a new tab just sitting waiting for me.
Oh yeah. Cause it is like, it's weird to like watch like American Decline in like real time. Is there's just like all these channels with millions of views that are just like, here's a city where you can just like watch things fall apart and everything. And it's just like, I don't know. I like the weird part of the internet where you're just like what's happening of this, of like, I forget one video I saw where like some guy helps like out of nowhere, this like woman trapped her kid or like accidentally locked her kid in the car. He comes up out of nowhere with a window breaker, breaks the window and like saves the kid. But everyone was like, why are you just walking around with like a window breaking tool? They were like, he's a hero. But it's like, you're just walking with that? Because he just like pulled it out of his pocket, just like broke the window. And everyone was like, huh.
Maybe he was just really prepared. Maybe he was like, maybe he's like one of those crazy people that just like hopes that he's gonna stumble across the right moment at the right time.
Dude, that's
because I mean, people that carry, man, concealed carry, open carry. It's like, I mean, it's sort of the same concept, right? They carry just for that one rare possibility that they need to use it.
Yeah, because there's some video where some guy, I think Texas, it's like mixed feelings about what happened, but this kid comes in, robs a diner, goes around, takes everyone's money, and he's almost out the door. One of the diners gets up, I guess he's a Hispanic gentleman, shoots the guy, and shoots him 4 times in the back. He falls over, walks over, shoots him 4 more times in the back. And you're like, there's self-defense. And then there's just like, at what point is that just like
execution?
Overboard? Yeah, because they were like
a little aggressive for some cash.
Right.
Yeah, because so it's always one of those things that like you could tell the guy was just waiting for his shot. Because he waits until like I'm like, the guy was literally leaving the diner. He'd gotten everything. You're just like, I don't know. It was weird to like watch the video, but it's also like,
that's one of the crazy things. I mean, I'm not going to say anything like, too special here. It's pretty fucking obvious, but it's like the theory of very large numbers. If enough things happen, something crazy will happen. Well, there are billions of people on the planet, so there's trillions of things happening at any given moment, and there are cameras everywhere. And like, it used to be that every once in a while you'd capture something insane on camera, and I think maybe the feeling that I get, or sometimes we get, that things are getting worse and worse, is just that we're seeing more and more. It seems like just wild ass shit is happening all the time. Like, I bet that dude that you saw turn into a zombie and get an open wound within 5 minutes of injecting something, he's probably seen some pretty wild shit that he's like, oh, this is nothing.
Right. And I think you're right. I mean, I think the number of occurrences have obviously grown because the population's grown so dramatically over the last 50 years, 100 years, whatever. But the rate, like if you look at the violent gun crime rate in the United States, has gone down like dramatically over the last 20 years.
Per capita?
Yeah, per capita.
Yeah.
Like the actual rate of like gun violence is down, like it's at almost an all-time low. But like you're hearing about like all these episodes constantly. So you're right. It gives this sort of perception that it is much, much worse than it is. And I mean, absolute.
Well, I'm not talking about guns specific. I'm just talking about just stuff in general.
I'm just using that as an example, though, right? I mean,
yeah. Because
that's easily verifiable, like that the gun violence rate is down like extremely low.
Tommy has to clarify that we do support the Second Amendment on this show. He's not. But I mean, because you're right, as far as like the internet does have those things, because now you can just like watch crazy people of like anything. If you want to find white supremacy in this country, you can find it. There's going to be like one channel if the Atlantic, they reported Substack. It's like this journalist thing where you can buy subscriptions. They're like, they have a Nazi problem. And they listed 6 accounts with a grand total of 100 followers. I'm like, with the internet, that's literally nothing. Like these guys, like, none of them are making more than like $50 a month. And it's like,
man, can you make $50 a month with 100 followers? Like, sign me up, bro.
Yeah. It's like, because it's $2 a month.
Not to the white supremacy, but like to the money. Like how do you get 100 followers to pay you $50 a month? Dude, this is what I want to know.
They just pay you a few dollars a month or whatever. But my point was like, you can see the craziness because some of like, there are just like people who just like show crazy things of like, there's a lot of like people who do like Twitch streams and stuff on Kensington Avenue. And you just like watch it in live real time, watch people do all sorts of crazy thing. And they just get donations sent. If I saw like the donation system's wild, like you'll have people who literally like, they'll just like read the chat or whatever. And it's like your message stays up for a certain amount of time.
You toss some money at them.
Yeah. I saw one guy make $1,000 in an hour just walking down a street. Just like showing things fall apart.
Why aren't we doing this with a show?
Get real life streaming.
Just
I was like, we should
get real life streaming and like just real life world's strongest opinions. Like we'll just walk and just whatever comes to mind, just blurt it out.
I sure force people to just lift in public, just like carry a bunch of implements around, just like in real time.
Have you ever seen the video? The guy like he just he gets a trap bar and he goes into the grocery store and he just buys like a shitload of groceries and then just like frame carries it out.
That's so good.
Puts them all puts on the poles.
Yeah. It was amazing.
There's a lot of great stuff about them too and everything. I don't want to like tell people just look at all this crazy stuff, but you can find whatever you want. And I think that's the nice thing about like a return to nature. The whole nature walk is just like simplify things because it is like overall things are generally better. Like it's very easy to like, and we've even like, it's easy to see that guy almost get his head like caved in by the Hercules hold and be like, Strongman sucks. Like some people would use that as an example and you're like, but overall things are moving better and stuff. You can't just like look at like the one instance.
I just want to point out, I love how we went like from like in localized injecting to zombie injecting tranquilizers to like white supremacists making $50 a month back to nature walk.
It's called a conversation, Darin.
It's true.
We went full circle.
This will be one of those ones that they'll just like age restrict out of nowhere. They'll just be like, people have to log in to listen to this because now they have the transcript and like certain things will just flag it and everything. Because there's been a few times where he talked about COVID and they're like, just give a little tagline. They're like, don't talk about that. But it is, the internet's the best thing because that's how you meet people now and stuff. So it's like how we got to meet each other. It's like Tommy and I have friends on Instagram and saw each other in real life at OSG. So I'm like, it's a powerful connection. Yeah. I was like, it's always good to meet people. But we do need to get into live streaming business. Like find some way to like make profitable things.
Yeah, it put you in a little anime wig. You'd look pretty cute, I think. You know, a little
the little cat ears.
Yeah, that's when you start making real money.
Go full streamer mode and stuff. Because it's just some of those things of like, in general, Kensington Avenue. If you want to watch crazy content,
I've got it queued up.
People, the best though is because there's also great versions of that from like other countries, or like just watching people do crazy.
Well, my mom has been watching a live stream of newborn squirrels in a nest. So
amazing.
You know, that's
also
different vibe.
It's true.
One of the coolest live streams I ever ran across was this Korean guy. He would cook, like, I don't know where the food came from necessarily. I think he cooked a little bit on the stream. But then you have like massive piles of food, and then he would just destroy the fuck out of it as fast as he could.
Like eating
it? Oh yeah, he would eat it like and just like stuff. I mean, like gorging himself. It was the most amazing live stream. Like I couldn't stop watching. Like I think I tuned back in a few times because I was just like, I just want to watch this guy eat like all this crazy food.
Yeah,
I mean, just insanely gluttonous.
So I would have a live stream, but it'd be sort of the opposite. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm all set."
Just the contentment live stream where you just like go into a situation.
Just go lay in bed and sleep. Yeah. Plenty of those out there too.
Yeah, you just have to be willing to like do that, because those are the crazy people who just keep their camera running on Twitch all the time. So you just like watch them sleep. You're like, that's weird.
That is weird.
Like, because there's a show, it's on season 2. Season 2 kind of sucks. But Fish Tank Live was the show where Sam Hyde, he's kind of like a controversial comedian, but he got a house of 8 people and they just have cameras and everything's live streamed. And you could pay to like do stuff. There's text to speech that would just like exacerbate situations, and like pay some people paid like $600 to have him go in and just destroy the refrigerator and just like ruin all the food.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
It's 6 weeks. Fish Tank Live, season 1. Season 2
great.
Has some good things. Yeah. I realized this last part is just me describing what I watch on YouTube. That's just like the stranger parts. But it's weird because they have like summaries of it. Watching it in real time. Kind of.
Dude, at the end of every World's Strongest Opinions episode, you should give out a recommendation of something that people should be doing on the internet.
That's true, because they are like nice things. Also, Russian dash cam videos. They have some pretty good compilations out there.
I've come across a few Instagram accounts that feature those heavily, and not a shit that just happens is wild.
Because and that makes you think that like driving's super dangerous, but it's like statistically, And I mean, it's not great, but it's like accidents are happening all the time. Yeah, that's what I was like. I was like, Texas, we do have a problem with our speeding, because like our highway next to us is 85 miles per hour is the limit. Bro, so it's great. Yeah.
Crazy. And it's like 7 lanes.
Oh, no, it's just 2 lanes, 2 lanes on each side. I've been driving 90 before and had a cop pass me like I was standing still, just like lights blazing. I was like,
nice.
I don't even know how. I didn't think that like
they're like, there's so many of you speeding, they don't even care anymore.
Yeah, because it's a toll road. So for a while they were like letting people just like do whatever on there. So there's like drag racing that would happen, because like they were perfect checkpoints where it takes a picture at the thing, so people would like race in between the checkpoints. So it's like quarter mile or a mile, see how fast you go. I was like, it's always a fun time. But yeah, I don't know where we got from here.
Yeah,
it's like the internet's always a good time.
Well, we're over our hour too, so
it's true.
We do like to try to keep these at an hour, Tommy. You got any closing words for our audience or anybody? About Nature Walk, Odd Objects.
No. I mean, look, I think Odd Objects is really cool. I think Nature Walk's really cool. The thing I'm trying to do with both of them, and everything I want to do, is just things that I think are cool, that I think other people want to see. I'm just trying to give something, I don't want to say I'm giving back, because that's fucking stupid. I'm trying to make money. But what I want to do is give the thing that I want to see in Strongman. So, I want to see clothing that's cool. I want to see competitions that are cool. But I will give a closing thought. And I mean this deadly serious. So this is advice from a world champion, and it goes like this: you can always give up. So just remember that you could always quit.
Right.
You could always just stop doing it. You could always give up.
So take that as you will.
Someone asked me to sign something one time, and he was like, "I'm gonna have people sign it, and you should be the first one." I was like, "All right." He's like, "Yeah, write a little something." I was like, "All right." I wrote my name, and I wrote, "You can always give up." And I was kind of goofing around at the time when I wrote it, but I started to think about it, and I was like, there are so many things that you're forced to do or that you feel like you should do, but the things that you are allowed to give up on and then you choose to not give up, those are more meaningful, I think. So, I am just kind of goofing around, but I really do believe it. If things suck and you don't feel like doing it, don't fucking do it. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
And then one day you'll find something that you don't want to give up on and you're like, that's fucking cool. So I don't know.
Makes sense. Because we've talked about that before. If it's not edifying, building up your life, you don't have to do it. Stick with it.
Exactly right.
You have to do shit.
Life's too damn short to do shit that you don't want to do.
That's true. Well, hey guys, I really enjoyed this. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on, Tommy.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and follow us on Instagram for updates. We'll catch you next time on World's Strongest Opinions.